We are It's Just a Hill, a cycling club that promotes inclusion, judgment-free, with no gatekeepers. Focused on creating content from behind the handlebars to in the studio, It's Just a Hill is producing videos and podcasts to spread the message that cycling is for everyone. We are focused on reminding everyone that riding your bike can help you overcome any obstacle, because after all, it's just a hill.
All right.
Wow, is everyone good?
I'm great.
Yeah, that's that. Okay, we are in it. This is the It's Just a Hill podcast. Let's go around the table real quick and say our names. I am John.
I am Brian.
Jared.
Noah.
Nate.
Brian.
Back to me. And nice job going around the circle successfully. Good job, everyone.
Good job.
Full hack.
Couple of new faces / voices. Coming in hot with the jokes there. Nate, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Your first appearance on the podcast.
Yep. Yeah, man, I'm pumped. Pumped.
Yeah, maybe you've seen Nate in the intro video that we put out. Nate has been a integral, that's the right word, part of this scenario here of It's Just a Hill. Nate, thank you for coming.
Of course.
Why? Now, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What do you enjoy about riding your bike?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because sometimes it's hard to do, especially nowadays where time is...
You're a busy man.
Yeah, I'm a busy dude. So it just gives me... I think there's something of a sense of freedom that kind of comes around with it, that despite it being such a hard thing to do, and sometimes cumbersome to get out, and you got to get out for at least an hour. It takes a half hour to get ready. You got to shower when you get back, all that type of stuff. It's not the easiest thing to get up and just do in the middle of the day or at the beginning of the day. But every single time I go out, and it sucks to get up and do that, whatever. And once you're out on the road, there's something about just kind of, I've never had runner's high, but I imagine it's something kind of like that, just getting into a headspace that is even, cool, calm, and
some sort of escapism to it.
And that's when riding alone, right? And then of course riding with somebody else is a whole different thing, but it's it's kind of
because there's those aspects, but then maybe you're being social.
Yep. But it works both ways. I mean, I started riding socially. I didn't do any rides alone ever in the first probably 8 months of me riding.
Just seeing one other people.
And so it was very social. Yeah. It started with just kind of the three of us kicking into it. And it was just a thing that I learned the social way first and enjoyed the camaraderie of it. And then when I had to start riding alone, I learned about that part, about just, cyclist high, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But it was awesome. Yeah. So I really enjoy riding and getting out when I can.
Nice. Well, hell yeah. Thank you for being here. Glad that you got the chance to make it. We've talked about sort of like, you were referencing Brian and riding with them. We've talked about like how they got into riding, and Brian has had like 1 million bikes, and other Brian here has had a reasonable, maybe 2 bikes, right? That's like a reasonable number.
Yeah.
What are you riding these days? What bike do you like choose to ride the most?
Yeah, so I've got 2. My road bike now is the one I bought from you, big man. It's
Big man.
It's and I love the bike actually. It's an LA. It's like a 2016 LA Specialized LA Sport, aluminum frame, and it's my first introduction to SRAM group set. And I fell in love with it. It's a mechanical, but still at the same time, I love that bike. It's so quick. It's so responsive. It's all black. It looks sleek. I mean, something about that bike, like that's a good bike that I got. So I love that bike for the road.
Big thanks to the big man.
Big thanks to the big man for letting me get that off him. That was John's. I mean, what was that bike to you? I mean, that was
like the bike that really got me into riding on the road.
Yeah.
I was like riding a mountain bike a lot, just on the bike path, just like to exercise. And then I bought that bike after riding some like secondhand bikes from my dad and stuff here and there. But yeah, that was like the first bike that I really...
So it's a bike with vibes then. I mean, this thing it's got vibes from one guy like starting and I love that style. It's just a really good bike. And then the other one I got Last year when I started getting into riding, I started on like a 78 rally with the drop bar
Shifter kit.
shifters.
Yeah.
You have to reach down and do this little so the camera can see.
that.
That thing. And it was I had 2 speeds. Did I have 2 speeds in the front? Yeah, 2 in the front on the crank, and then I don't even know what the sizes were. And then I had like maybe 6 in the back.
I think it was 5.
5 in the back.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I mean, I may have had...
It was a 10 speed.
10 speed total.
It was... Yeah, I may have had the biggest ring in the back. The biggest cog... it probably was like a 25, maybe at most.
Yeah.
So
you were cranking
every hill, I'm
Yeah.
trying to bring this thing.
Yeah.
It was awful. And it
tough
got
bike
to a
to
point
ride.
where I was just like,
Yeah.
I can't do this anymore
Yeah.
because he had his first bike, the Univega, which was like it was good. And then you were riding the what was it? The red one?
Contender.
The Contender.
Yeah.
And
And Brian and I would
classic.
be
and they were just
Speeding
smoking
up
me.
hills.
And
You're in the back.
I was in the back for other reasons too.
Like
Like my level of fitness was very low at that point. But yeah, I mean, so it was a thing. And then I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm falling in love with the sport somehow, despite me getting all pissed off about riding half the time because I'm always behind on the hills. So
Oh, sorry. I
no. I got the Domani, the Trek Domani, the SL5. Yeah, SL5 or SL6. So, it's got the Shimano 105 group set, and I got a 2x front, and I just went up to like a 1136 rear.
Yeah. You're riding a little
it's
bit more
good
on
climber.
gravel, right, as opposed to the
and
road bike.
So that has become my gravel bike now.
Yeah,
I've changed over because that has 40s on it.
Love it.
For the tires, and so that's my gravel bike now.
Nice.
That's
And I got
awesome.
some couch hippers on there too for gravel riding.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
it's a good bike for gravel.
Also to introduce the man to your left, loves to ride gravel. I think, not to speak for you, Noah, but Noah, also thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Noah, you run a group, a club, an Instagram page called Gravel Bike RI. Can you want to tell the people about that and like why you started that and what you're trying to do with gravel bikes?
Yeah, definitely. So I started Gravel Bike RA probably a month ago or so. And basically, I ride a lot of gravel, a lot of off-road, and I kind of wanted to create this space where people could come together and sort of enjoy it together, right? We're sort of really fortunate in Rhode Island. Since it's such a small state, you can really link together some nice rides. But sort of the problem is, like, unless you live in an area and you have sort of a historical local knowledge of where the trails are, like, you might not go out and ride a lot just because you don't know where to ride, or it's like a big effort, right? You have to like drive to Arcadia or something if you're not, or you live in the city, there's no
Sure.
gravel, right? So I kind of wanted to just create this fun space where like people could come be who they are, ride their bike on gravel, and there was no pressure of like feeling like you're part of, like group rides can be intense and kind of scary at first, right? Like you could come, we do sort of a mixed ride, start off with gravel and then go maybe some double track and single track, and like regardless of your fitness level or like where you're at on the bike, like I will ride with the slowest person. I don't care. Like I'm not there to get my fitness in. I'm there to have fun, and like that's sort of why I created it. But yeah, it's just also too just Rhode Island, so sort of more my academia side of things and interests. Rhode Island landscape is like really changing drastically, and essentially if people don't continue to use a lot of these open spaces, we're going to lose them.
Yeah.
So getting people out and appreciating it and fostering that connection, I think, is super important.
Dude,
So,
that
yeah.
is so cool. I didn't realize that you did that
Yeah.
on the side too, or as your career type thing. So
Yeah.
you're literally tying in gravel riding with what you do.
Yeah,
That's
So
it's
just
just really neat.
Close to home.
It's like
yeah, definitely.
very real.
And
Yeah.
speaking from experience, you do ride with the slowest person on the gravel rides, and thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Wait till I come tomorrow.
And I wouldn't even say slowest. It's just like
Oh,
are you going tomorrow?
yeah.
Fuck, I gotta figure out how to get there.
Off pod, Brian.
Yeah.
Unless you want us to listen, you'd have to put this out.
Let's discuss all of the
If anyone wants to
logistics.
give me a ride tomorrow.
Yeah, you'd have to put this out so quickly.
Yeah.
You'd be
This will
putting
be
so
out
much
tonight.
pressure on yourself. Noah, how can people find your rides? Like I mentioned, you have an Instagram page, right? It's Gravel Bike RI. There's also a Strava club.
Yeah, Strava Club. And then I post on the like proprietary Gravel Rhode Island Facebook page.
Right, which is just like a shared group, right, with people that like to ride gravel locally.
Yeah, and then I just try to plug it with my friends, you guys and stuff, and then anyone else I ride with who wants to.
You've done a few on Tuesday nights, but
yeah, and then,
other nights of the week, they might just pop up here.
Yeah,
right?
sometimes, or I've sent out like one Facebook message where I was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go ride Arcadia if anyone wants to come."
Right.
And like Brian came.
You guys got lost. He lost his keys.
We found his key. It was amazing.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, Brian? How did that happen? You were definitely taking your phone out to take a picture.
Oh yeah, I opened my bar bag to take a video. We were going through like this tall grass, like double track kind of thing. And it was funny because as I was filming the video, I'm like, I feel like my car keys are probably gonna fall out because I left
the bag was still open.
Yeah. So that was why I checked, because we got to the end and I'm putting my phone back in and I'm like, I should probably check. And yeah, they were gone. So we turned around and it was just my one car key, like, because I took it off the whole chain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way we're going to find this. The grass is like this high. And yeah, sure enough, it was just sitting there.
Wow. Holy crap.
Luck.
So found
At least that wasn't the case when we rode.
Now,
through
who
that
found
pond.
it?
It was definitely like a group effort, but it's funny riding like with both John and Brian. Like you both lost very important things.
Yes.
Like riding, John lost
your
his through axle.
Yes.
You lost your car keys.
I found my through axle.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so we were riding gravel, just like south of 102, and we went down a hill and then we went up. And when we got to the top, I felt like really wobbly on my disc brake gravel bike. And turns out I looked down and the through axle was gone. Oh my! I was only resting on the rotor. It was just the rotor.
Holy crap.
And so, like I started to walk back. Noah hopped on his bike and like went back down that hill. And I mean, it didn't take you that long. How far down the hill was it?
It was like right at the base. Unfortunately, because we were riding gravel, it stopped any rolling of the through axle. So it literally just fell to John's bike and just hit the ground. And that's where it sat.
And it's
Really
never had an
fortunate.
issue since. The thread on it is fine. I have no idea like how it was like my first or second ride on the new bike.
Maybe it was
Oh,
super
yeah.
lubed up or something. Like
Something. It just like
ultra lubed.
popped right up. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's like, oh, this should not be loose.
Dude, you're lucky though.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, I'm the luckiest. Yeah, but no, actually,
I
get
mean,
there.
imagine if that
Yeah,
came
you
off.
could've-
You would
you
have
could've
dug
ate
your new
shit.
bike forks.
You would have immediately gone into a wheelie and just powered up the rest of it.
Right, well, that's true.
Oh,
I mean,
I
yeah.
fucking
We're talking
will.
about John, so.
Okay. I don't like this. This aura about me sucks.
I do gotta say though, the gravel bike, as someone who's brand new to gravel, your group is very helpful because what you said in the beginning totally rings true. It is so hard to find out where to ride off road if you're just getting into the sport.
Right,
So
you can't
like,
just look at a map like Google Maps.
right. I was, and there's not like any really good services for where we live to find like the best trails. So I was like, seeing where John rode, and then I found Jason. Jason's also part of Gravel RI, Gravel Bike RI, excuse me. But yeah, just like stealing routes, but it's so nice to be able to like join a club where the routes are made weekly and you can just like just get better at riding off road rather than having to worry about where do I have to go to like try this, So yeah, thank you for that. That's great.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
No, would you say, do you like riding gravel more than riding on the road?
I'd say it's a balance. Like I just ride how I feel. So like, for like 2 months, I only had a gravel bike. So basically riding it on the road with 42 mils, like just didn't interest me.
Right.
So I started doing like a lot of mixed rides, kind of around South Kingstown. Just like the bike path has a ton of super fun trails.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically kind of a balance. Like the last couple of days I've been road. I did some like road rides with you guys. It's just kind of how I feel in the fall. I mean, this is only my first year of like cycling, so like definitely last fall I bought a gravel bike just because I wanted to go out and be in the woods while like the leaves were changing, nice views. And
You've only been riding for a year?
well, so
Oh my God. Holy shit.
I guess I'll sort of, it's okay if I sort
Of
of
course,
talk
please.
about so my like voyage with cycling started actually like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I was a cross country and track runner, and I just had really good fortune to have this coach that sort of recognized the potential I may have in cycling just from watching me run, because they were a really good cyclists themselves. Like they were a pro amateur in New England. They did crits and stuff. So I was like running strong headed. I was like, I'm going to run. But they convinced me to buy a road bike. So I bought a CAD 12 105 from Store Center Cycles. And my coach and I agreed that every Monday and Wednesday I could go out for a bike ride for my training instead of
running.
Right. So I would go out and I would do that. And the irony of it was like right after I bought my road bike, I started PRing in all of my races, and like I ended up finishing well at the conference. And I was really injury prone when I was a college runner. I would have these big blocks of training and then I just get hurt right before the important races, and I always was frustrated. So it was sort of that. And then didn't really ride a lot, like once a week while I was running. And then finally I had an injury where when I saw the doctor, they basically were like, you can't run anymore. Like, you need to figure that out. So I kind of went through this phase of finding myself again because like running was such an integral part of my life. And then I started, like, Nate's going through the same thing right now, grad school at URI, and just like the time suck was just unreal. And I lost myself in grad school. So then when COVID happened and, couldn't go to the gym anymore because I was just going to the gym on campus like twice a week to stay fit or whatever, I broke out the old CAD 12 and started riding. And actually what motivated me to ride, something kind of personal. So my grandmother was late stage Alzheimer's at the time last fall, and she eventually had passed away. And it worked out really well. Every spring and fall, my mom and I would go do a walk to end Alzheimer's. So like a fundraiser charity walk, we'd walk 3 miles. And they also did congruently a ride to end ALZ, but they always would host it in like Austin, Texas, or somewhere you couldn't participate in it. So this year, that particular year, it happened to be virtual. So they basically said like, pick a challenge that you want to do, like ride as ever long as you want to. Just go out on the same day, wear your jersey. They sent you like a bib where you could write who you're riding for on it and stuff. So I ended up fundraising like $2,000 for my grandmother.
Wow.
And I went out and rode my first century.
Nice.
Holy shit.
Which was cool. So like,
Hell yeah.
that's what like got me into training. So like I was riding pretty frequently at that point, and then it just kind of like festered itself into like replacing that. Like you were talking about the runner's high. Like I've had the runner's high. And I've had this. I think there is definitely a cycler's high.
That's good.
Yeah, and like it's different. I think it's.
I always wanted a runner's high when I was in the army, and I never got it.
It's like different in how it appears in form, but like I think the cycling high is more achievable. Than the running high is, because running sucks. Like I mean, I would never go for a run right now. I just don't have any interest. It's painful, but like cycling is sort of like these. And we'll probably talk about this later with like the Mount Greylock ride, but it's like literally these peaks of high, like, and they can happen multiple times throughout a run, ride or something like that. Right. So while running is sort of like all this training, you peak, you have this one high moment where you have a really good race, and then that's it.
Wow, that's incredible. I would like just from riding with you the few times I have, I would have assumed you've been riding for years. That's amazing.
I literally,
Congrats
when we were riding. And in Jamestown, when I met Noah for the first time, remember I was riding right next to you, and I said, I'm looking at you from behind. This is going down a weird road.
You can get to the point
in front of us, and I look over at Brian, and I'm like, dude, that dude looks like he's a pro cyclist.
Yeah.
Like your form, just like you see people in the Peloton when you're watching Tour de France or something, and it just looks. There's a certain look.
Looks right.
Yeah, and like you had that, and I said that to Brian. I'm like, dude, this dude looks like a cyclist. I had no idea you started last year, just like me.
Stanley's got the same form. You can't even draft behind John because he's so fucking arrow.
You can't draft behind me?
No, because you're always bent over like this.
Too low.
The most arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, me behind that, I'm just. It's my tri bike.
Wow. I never knew you guys felt this way.
It's more.
All these things are coming to
I
light.
didn't learn the importance of arrow riding until I started riding with you, and I saw the lean though.
Yeah.
It definitely helps.
I like drafting behind you.
Thank you, Brian.
I can draft behind you.
Oh, thank you
it's
so
because I'm
much.
short though. That's why.
What the hell?
I don't know.
Us-
I'm on the same page.
Us wide boys.
I can't
You're right.
draft.
Hey, I'll remember that next time. I'm trying to. I'm like, I'll let these guys. I'll come out in front and I'll pull for them for a little bit. I'll remember next time. You don't even want.
We're just getting
You don't even want.
additional slipstream. It's so arrow. The air's right through them.
Shouldn't be saying this to the guy that's on the front the longest every single ride.
So Noah, you really don't ride at all. I mean, you really don't run at all.
Not
Like,
right now.
currently.
Yeah, no.
Brian, I've noticed you run every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
You ran
No,
today, didn't
I
you?
ran today.
You ran today?
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Like you feel like it makes you more well-rounded.
Sorry for running.
Why do you? Yeah. Are you apologizing just for running?
No.
We've been known as
very
like
clear.
not an
We
anti.
hate
I know you're a
runs.
kind person.
No, I didn't want to
Yes, I
step
ran
on your
today, sorry.
question.
Yeah, you're the nicest person here.
Oh, thank you.
I truly believe that. Everyone else.
I don't know. Noah seems like a great guy.
He is very nice too.
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, like why? So like, why do you
so-
do you choose to run sometimes? Is it a time thing? Is it a well-rounded thing? Like, why?
I think 3 reasons. I could never run before, and I've lost weight, so now I can run. I do think there's something to, having a well-rounded sort of fitness schedule.
Mhm.
So I like to just test myself every once in a while,
Yep.
see where I'm at with the running game.
Yep.
Today was good. And
Almost as fast as
well, that
the
was
Flash,
2
right?
things. I said 3 things.
It makes
It
you
was
feel
probably
good.
time.
It makes you feel, yeah.
Because
I
it's
think I just
quicker.
combined maybe 2 and 3 into that one. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, you talked about that in the car ride over. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
What did I say?
You said you did a run because you didn't have
Oh
that much
yeah,
time.
yeah. I didn't have
Less
enough
of a
time to do
commitment.
a ride today.
It makes sense
So,
from like a well-rounded
yeah.
perspective too, because apparently you would know, right? It helps your Noah. It helps your bone density, apparently, right?
Yeah.
So and like cycling,
It's like
is
I have
actually-
hollow bones.
Yeah, very detrimental to your bones. So apparently,
John's
like
avian bone syndrome.
supposedly like weightlifting and
Weightlifting, 100%.
running is very good for bone density. So
I didn't know
you're
that.
probably doing something really good for
Thank you.
yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's good knowledge.
yeah.
There is a correlation to when you started running and then your ability to climb on the bike.
Well,
Like you started running pretty heavily at one point last year, and then you could not be caught in an uphill. For me, at least.
yeah, let's say for you. Anybody
Slam.
else could have, but
No, no.
Okay, so I know where we're at now. I understand.
This has become too competitive,
Yeah.
but not even purposefully.
Wow.
Not even purposefully.
Guys, I'm better
this
than all of you.
At this table. Nate,
Holy
you know
smokes.
what? Nate,
No, we're not.
you never beat me on a
We're
hill.
not
You'll
getting
never
there
beat
after
me.
this. No
You'll
way.
never beat me on a hill.
Never
I like that.
hill.
I like that.
Wow.
Let's all be honest. We'll
Oh.
never beat them. I haven't ridden up with you with any huge hills, Noah, but I was gonna say, let's all be honest. We'll never beat John uphill.
I was right there.
I was
right there.
saddled. He said, 2.5 mile hill. Getting up.
Actually,
Going.
that could be a good transition
Cranking.
into how did you guys perform on those Greylock hills?
Well,
Mountains.
that would be great. So that would be a great transition.
Here we are.
No, you mentioned it earlier. There was this Greylock ride that we did. You and I and Brian. Brian, we went. We have a video coming out pretty soon. It'll be out like around maybe even before this podcast is out. It's up on
Yes.
our YouTube that shows like this 2-day trip that we took. Right. So we'll sort of describe like what the 2 days entailed, and then maybe we'll field some questions from you guys who didn't go. And because it was, I mean, honestly, for me, was like the most epic bike ride of my life.
It looked
It was a fun weekend. We went away for like 2
was
days.
epic.
You know, we went like up the day before. We spent the night. We went on a little like 16-mile ride, right? We got some Thai food. We went to Big Y. You'll see all these things in the video.
Can you just lay down the route, the stats of the route?
Yeah,
real
I'm
quick?
getting there.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying because it is impressive what you guys did, especially
should I
from
pull
like
up
an
the ride, or
elevation
do you have it?
standpoint.
You can pull it up.
All right.
So then, right. So we did this 16-mile spin. We then the next day we got up to do this organized ride. Berkshire Velo is the name of the cycling club that put it together.
Okay.
They're out of Western Mass.
Yep.
Great ride. We met at this place called Shire Brew House, and the ride was 108 miles and right around 13,000 feet of climbing, depending on whose Wahoo unit. Mine was 13,000.
Yours was over
I think yours guys was a little
13,000.
bit less.
This was 12.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
12,900 something. I was like,
12,940.
he's got to be pissed.
So you don't remember
rode-
what that is per mile, do you? I
think
can't do
Noah's
the math
was
off
So
the
that's-
top of my head.
Also,
Yeah, so that's over
Yeah, his
100
was
feet
even
per
like
mile.
110 feet.
110
per mile or
feet per
something
mile.
like that.
Which is insane.
And it included some longer climbs, much longer than you get around here. Some
Oh, yeah.
steeper climbs, much steeper than you get around here. I'd say the standout. There were 2 or 3 climbs that were categorized or above categorization, which they call the ORS category in professional cycling. So it's like basically they made categories and then they were like, "There's one that's harder," and they made another name for it, which is so stupid. But there was one of those and 2 category 1s. Kingsley Road is one of the harder
Kingsley,
ones, right?
yeah.
Brian, you know the
Was
stats
the-
of Kingsley, please.
Yeah, we'll put up a little image of the gradient right here.
Oh yeah.
But I think it was actually I can just pull up the.
Is it the second?
I'll
What was
simulate it
the
with my hand for a
effort?
sec.
Yeah.
It was 17 on max 21, right?
Well, at one point it was the
25.
steepest paved half mile in the U.S.
Right.
Which I think now it is number 3.
Wow.
So here's the segment: Kingsley Hill Road. It's 1.2 miles and it's an 823 foot elevation gain with a 12.6% average.
That's like
Right.
half my elevation on a 30-mile ride.
And this was about 26 miles or so into a ride, I think. We had
Yeah.
already climbed about 26.
I thought it was like mile 40 or something.
Oh, was it? Yeah, maybe it was.
It was
mile
really-
40.
It was mile
seeing, like,
40. We were
4,600
already at
feet.
like 4,000 feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was so steep that I will sound braggadocious. Some people were walking up it.
Oh yeah, there's video
We
evidence.
were
of it.
riding up
Everybody-
next to them
Yeah.
walking, and it was
Yeah.
not easy by any means. I think the people that walked up it have, all the guts in the world to sign up for a ride like that and
Oh,
walk
yeah.
to the top of that hill and then
Yeah.
continue to ride and have it not like kill their spirits.
Yeah.
They were all very encouraging to us. Some people were walking in the middle of the road, which was irresponsible.
yeah, there was also a tractor coming
There
down.
was a tractor coming down. Some of the
Horrible
pavement
pavement.
itself was not great. The second half was like
The
paved.
steepest part was terrible.
was
It
terrible.
26%
Rhode Island
grade
Road.
was the steepest.
Was the steepest. Yeah, my tire spun out at one point, and it was, but
Mm.
it was a lot of fun. And doing it together, I think, was the biggest thing for me because like we could basically look around the corner and see each other and be like, well, we're all doing it, like let's continue to do it because
You want to cross the finish line together.
exactly
Yeah,
we want
yeah.
to cross the finish line
And-
together. Yeah.
I
Dude,
feel
there's something about being in the suck together, man. There is something about being
Oh
in
yeah,
a
suffering
scenario
together.
with
Yeah,
people that are in the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Great things get done in those moments.
So how did you
My
guys
bad.
like the things I want to know is like what did you okay. Why'd you decide to do it? What did you do to prepare? And what did you feel like afterwards? Is pretty much what I want to know.
I decided to do it because Brian peer pressured me. I wouldn't have done it had he not, and I'm glad that I did.
I think we were supposed to do. Oh, we were supposed to do a gravel.
Right.
We signed up for that gravel grinder, but it got canceled
It got canceled and postponed to the
to
same
that
weekend.
Yeah, so
right.
it was either do that or do this ride.
Right.
And for whatever reason, I wanted to do it really bad.
Yeah, we knew a couple other people that were doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a video on our YouTube about us riding around Cape Cod, me and Brian. We did that with this guy, Sean. Sean was signed up for the ride. And so he likes to do these big epic rides. So we thought, let's try it. It'll be like a fun adventure. It'll be a fun reason to like make a video, So we asked Noah. Noah was down to do it. And like Kingsley, what might have been the steepest climb, but it wasn't the longest, right? After
No.
Kingsley, we bombed down a bunch. Then we climbed Mount Greylock.
Greylock, which I have pulled up.
And there's all these great like stops along the way, right? It's super supported ride. I think there were 6 or 7 stops like total where they were feeding us and like topping us off with water and stuff. The one at the bottom of Greylock was great. The people who were like actually running it were there.
Yeah.
They would like hop around from one to the other. There was also this 12-year-old kid there. He was about 12. And as we were riding away, he screamed, "Good luck, don't die!" like in this like very chipper tone. And it was really funny.
Hell yeah.
Very
It's
funny.
so
funny,
As we started to climb up this, and so what is the Greylock climb, Brian?
6.6 miles, 2,177 foot elevation gain.
Took
so,
us
like-
about 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
When you guys
Well,
are on a
this-
climb like that, what's your
These
I
switchbacks.
don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but like what's your cadence and like what do you kind of I've never done something like this. So like what do you kind of like feeling like when you're climbing up a mountain like that steep?
Spin
or,
it
like,
to win it. That's all I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I know I was just taking my scientist brain approach a little
Yes,
bit too. And actually what I was doing is I pulled up the road map and I could see the contour lines.
Okay.
So if we were going parallel to the contour line, essentially I knew that it was a relatively flat portion. So it did like a lot of
What is
switchbacks at first.
Right.
So
The
when I started to
switchbacks
see
were
the
like
contours,
20%.
yeah, they were crazy. And like when I started to see that, I kind of knew like, all right, this is going to be like a little rougher section. So I would sort of conserve my energy. But then kind of once we got to the tree line, that's when you kind of knew that the steeper stuff was over. And it was literally just like a
It
very,
was like 6%.
yeah, gradual. Like honestly, Kingsley Road was by far shorter, but by far worse, I think.
Much
than
harder.
Doing Greylock.
1.2 miles, 800 feet was
Yeah.
Kingsley. Like some like crazy amount.
How long did
Like-
it take you guys to complete like that climb, the Kingsley climb?
Oh, Kingsley?
I just
It was
looked.
like
It was like 10 minutes.
10
or
minutes.
something.
Wow.
This was in Greylock was about 40.
And that's just pure suffering the whole time.
Yeah.
10 minutes,
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, you get to the top of Greylock, again, another support area. Then you bomb down 3,000 feet. We had a 3,000 foot
12-minute descent.
Yep.
Wow.
It was sick.
We
It
should
was
get
so
some
sick.
sort of recovery.
Just fucking hauling
That sounds
ass.
awesome.
Then there was one more daunting climb at about mile 75 or 80.
Yeah.
And then it was pretty much smooth sailing on the way back.
So when you guys get back, are you just completely taxed, hardest ride ever, or
Hardest ride ever, but like for me personally, I was just like pumped with adrenaline still and like so exhilarated. Like we ended up driving back to Rhode Island that night.
Noah and I got force-fed. Got force-fed shots.
Yeah, they got
immediately
force-fed
afterwards.
shots.
Because there was like a beer tent and stuff.
Yeah.
And
So we had
Did you
2
get
shots.
instantly hammered?
We had 2 shots and a
Not
beer,
great, but
and I ate
close.
like a big ice cream cup.
Yeah.
And then
I had to drive.
we,
Yeah.
went to McDonald's.
Yeah, we went to McDonald's on
Crushed
the
a
way.
Big Mac.
Funniest scene in the video, by the way, 100% is the McDonald's scene.
Oh yeah, thanks. That's a good teaser, Jared.
I
Thank
feel
you.
like I gained weight on that ride.
Just from all the water
We
and
ate
stuff.
so much.
We
There
ate
was
so
just
much.
so much food, like
Yeah.
so many snacks at the aid stations.
ate a lot of pad thai the night before, and just like ate at every single stop. They had peanut butter sandwiches and pickles and picklebacks and Gatorade and like
Wow.
granola bars and
Fig Newtons, Cliff
Yep.
Bars, everything.
Yep.
Honey shots.
That must make it a little bit easier, right? Knowing that there's like a station up ahead of the road that's going to give you everything
for
you
sure.
need, no matter what.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, because they
I
were.
start bringing pickles on my ride. Just dill spears sitting in my bag.
Good for cramps.
But you guys
I know.
are like,
yeah, they got the electrolytes.
There's a cat.
I would obviously say like amongst the group of the core group from It's Just a Hill, you're obviously the 3 of you are the most experienced and like strongest out of the bunch.
I wouldn't.
But like, what do you feel like when you take on that type of feat and like cross the finish line? Are you like hardest ride ever I've ever done? I'm 100% taxed, or it's just
I mean, hardest ride ever. Yes.
I would
Yeah.
label it as my second hardest ride ever. But
Yes.
when you're doing climbs, well, first, like back to your point about like eating, like, and Brian saying he gained weight, like you want to eat as much as you can. Cause like those are, I mean, you could call it a race if you want, right? But it's more of a race of attrition,
yeah.
right? Like no fitness level is going to prepare you for that unless you're like a pro tour rider or something.
Right.
And you regular, in Rhode Island, you're not doing that type of climbing. So it's really just how much grit you have, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
But
there
it
was really
feels-
no training other than the riding that.
Just like riding
Doing.
often,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like it wasn't like I wasn't thinking.
The only
I'm
way
doing
to
this
train
for
for that is
Greylock.
to do hill
Right.
repeats or like
Right.
sit on a trainer all day.
Do you
You would
think if you were to
think
do
because
it
there's no
again
climbs
next
like that.
year, or let's say a year or two
I
from
would do
now,
it again.
Next year,
Absolutely.
100%. You coming?
I would do it
Oh,
with
I
a different.
want to.
I would
Would
do it
you
with
train-
a different bike, different gears.
Yeah, would you train for it though, or would you just continue to do what you're doing, knowing that you've already like accomplished it?
I'm training for life, baby.
Yeah.
I'm not training for a ride. Seriously, I'm
Yeah.
training to be the best me. Period.
Yeah.
You know, like,
That's
so I'm not looking forward to a ride that's in 11 months.
Right.
I'm looking forward to my next ride, and
Right.
that's what I'm training for.
I feel like that's
I'm
a
training to
healthy way
wake
to
up
think about
every
it.
day feeling better than I did the day before.
Yeah.
Really, like, and hopefully that means I can sign up for rides and like kick my ass and push myself. You know. But yeah, like I just don't necessarily subscribe to that. Like we're doing a 200-mile ride in Florida in October, right?
Right.
I hope I'm good for it. I think I'll be good for it. Fuck that. I know I'll be good for it.
Yeah.
Right? But like, I'm not necessarily training for it. I just know that it's just going to be another ride in my repertoire of
Yeah.
rides. Right.
I feel like I don't know, looking at like the ride profile and the type of ride that you guys did at Greylock, it seems like the 200 ride mile in Florida would almost be easier.
I
Like
sort
given
of
like
agree.
pack dynamics and stuff like
even
that.
the Cape Cod ride.
Right. We rode 180 around Cape Cod. Less
Yeah.
taxing than the Greylock ride.
And like, yeah, I don't mean to like toot our club's horn or anything like that, but like you just don't see those types of rides very often. And to like, I don't know, see people who have all been riding under 5 years or so, like accomplish something like that is yeah, it's impressive.
Well, thank you.
100%. Yeah. And I look forward to doing
I'm really
it.
glad
All
we did
6
it.
of us.
And
Yeah.
And I think on your point, Jared, it shows that like anybody can do it. Like,
Yeah.
You just have to put your mind to it.
Right.
And believe
That
in
was the
yourself and
biggest, like-
having the camaraderie.
that was the biggest mental battle for me was that ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the
There's
mental
so many
strength.
times
Right.
where I want like Kingsley Hill. Like when we came around the corner in my head, I was like, I'm gonna be one of those guys pushing, and I stopped for a second. Like where there was this little driveway that pulled out, and I like pulled over into it, and I sat there for like 20 seconds, and I was like, fuck that, and I just clipped back in, and I was just like
just push
pushed
through.
up it.
Yeah.
And there was several times where that happened to me, where I was just like, I can't do this. And then you start doing it, and then you just kind of like forget that you're doing it. Like your body just shuts everything down.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Do you know where you guys? Not that it really matters, but like, do you know where you guys placed in relation to like the field or anything? Or?
No.
Yeah.
We didn't look at like
It
overall.
wasn't timed.
There were some people that absolutely crushed our times.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some people that probably skipped the rest stations.
Yeah.
Was it a big group start?
It was staggered start between
Staggered
like
start.
6:30 and 8 or
Yeah,
6 and
there was
7:30.
there was
So
no
roll
start
up,
time
sign
either.
up,
It was
take
just
off.
whenever you get there, you can leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were basically said like the food at the end, like the beer and the shots that these guys were force fed, was like available until a certain time, right?
Oh,
They're like, till 3 or 4 o'clock. After that, we're basically gonna open up the brew house because it was a place that they like brewed beer and like hosted events and stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't
you know?
see too many people. Well, we passed like, you go by, you see people, but there was like one particular group that we kept re-meeting with at like the aid stations, but
Yeah,
like that was
there are
about
a bunch
it.
of characters.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know exactly how many people signed up. I think there was 100 or something.
Yeah, the parking lot was pretty full. And
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. I got a question for you.
me
What
specifically.
so someone that was doing that ride, there's a lot that people look at when they see the bikes and they say, oh, S-Works, that's like a really cool bike, whatever. What's not the nicest bike? What's a bike that you pass through like, I cannot believe that bike is
Oh, you know
doing
what?
this ride?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question because I don't really know.
was
Actually,
The
some-
Cannondale?
there's some guy was riding a Cannondale System 6, like super aero.
No way.
EF.
Wow.
No way.
Yes.
There was that 3T that was pretty sick.
And then there was someone that actually parked next to us that was riding like the same look that I have, an UEZ 785 with rim brakes. And I cannot imagine doing that ride
Those
with rim
descents.
brakes.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
descent?
There were some descents that were so steep. There
Sean
was
did
one-
it with rim brakes.
Sean did it, yeah. Like that scares me because to
Yeah.
me, disc brakes are like amazing. And luckily, it wasn't that wet, so I'm sure everyone felt very confident. And rim brakes on carbon and not the wet can be super strong. But
Yeah.
for me, I was just like very glad to have
Oh,
disc
yeah.
brakes.
Yeah.
That ride sold me on
So
disc
some
brakes.
people I would see with rim brakes, and I'd be like, whoa, like.
What kind of setups were you guys seeing out there? Like a lot of like, I don't know, like one by with the big mullet
I
on the
didn't really
back.
see
or-
anyone buys.
No,
Oh, really? Huh.
more like some compact setups. You
Yeah.
know?
You could do
two
it.
buys are made for that type of terrain, anyways.
Yeah.
That's what there's
I
a
mean,
lot
you
in
could-
Europe.
You
'cause
could
they
do that
a lot of
ride
climbing
easily
those, 'cause
with
you have more
a
gears.
34-34.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
If you have a 1-1 like 50, I was riding a 50-34 in the front, right? So that's some people might not know. 50 teeth on the big ring and 34 on the little, and then in the back, my cassette was 11 teeth on the small, up to 28 on the back.
Okay.
So next time, personally, I think I would try to get an 11 to 34.
You rode
I
that with
would
a
absolutely
28?
do that.
I sure did.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
I think that's what I'm riding right now is 1128.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it with a 36.
I mean,
But it also depends on the ratio of the front, right?
Yeah.
So like it all really depends. If I had a 1-1, I would have.
Yeah.
There were a couple times where I was like standing up, sitting down, standing, just trying to get the right feel for it. I never felt like I was really. Maybe there was a part on Kingsley I wish I was be able to spin a little bit more, but
Quick
Maybe
commercial break.
you put on a little reggaeton or something.
yeah, when you
Just get with the beat and like keep climbing. Yeah.
What
But
did you ride? What was your
36-32.
36-32? What'd you have?
I had a 46-33 in the front and a 10-33 in the back.
Oh,
So you had the 1-to-1.
so it was
Yeah.
like
Solid.
1, 2,
That's nice.
3.
Were you in the 1-to-1?
No, I
the
think
Kingsley
he had
climb?
the
Do you
hardest
remember?
combo.
Yeah,
I think.
and like
Yeah, I think a 36-32 is harder than a 34-28.
Oh, maybe not.
Well, it's got
No,
6.
if you-
You're the gear
6
guy.
and 4.
Yeah.
So you
right.
got 1-1, and then there's 4 teeth difference on yours and a 6 tooth on
Yeah,
That's
yours.
right.
The
Oh,
number
yeah,
of
yeah,
tooth
yeah,
difference
yeah.
is going to increase your ratio.
That's why I
Nice
had
ratio.
13,000 plus feet. That's why I was over 13,000 feet because I had a little slightly harder ratio. That's what the Wahoo knew.
I don't know if listeners would also be interested, but I learned this recently too, and like what that gear ratio essentially equates out to is like I guess like what's literally happening physically is that when you change or you take the number of teeth you have in the front divided by the cog in the back, and that tells you for each pedal stroke how many times your tires rotate. So in
Right.
case people didn't know that, that's
Yeah.
why gear ratios matter.
Yeah. So 1-to-1 is a perfect. Every time your foot comes around, your wheel has also come around.
One full
Exactly.
And thus you would
One
use
full
that
time.
in a hard climb.
Right. Just so you spin easier. Right. As
I didn't-
opposed to like
I didn't know that.
cranking. Yeah.
Well, you divide
You divide the
front by the rear.
Yeah.
Front
and
by the
it's-
rear.
And
Yep.
I guess changing subject from gear a little bit, but
Yeah.
back to both of your points about like, it sounded like, John, like for you, riding is about personal growth. And then you
Absolutely.
were sort of saying like, how do you prepare? I think, with a lot of these tougher challenge rides, like you go into it sort of believing you can do it, and sort of where you're at in whether biking life or your personal life or whatever you're trying to get out of it is like a line in the sand. And when you complete those things, like you've suddenly realized now, like, whoa, I'm way more capable of what I thought I was. And that just threshold keeps growing. And like the only way we can grow as people, as cyclists, is like going through, moments of discomfort. And like,
absolutely.
that's like definitely what like I got out of. And I think all of us got out of that was like,
I don't know if it's like a mindset thing now, but I feel like just from that one ride, I've gotten better at climbing. Excuse me. Like I feel like stronger like doing climbs now.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. Like it must
It's
even just
probably
mentally.
a mindset thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perspective
it's a mental
part
thing,
of
but
it.
yeah,
It must
just
feel
like
so much
seeing
Literally
hills.
also climbed 13,000 feet. Well, sorry, 12,940 feet. We can't give you the 13. But I mean, you also did that. I mean, your legs did that. There's got to be a physical, like.
It's like
Your
that classic
game.
saying too. Like it never gets easier. You just get better. It's like every
that's
really
not it,
hard.
but-
is that not it? Oh,
No.
I fucked it up. But I think about like every hard ride that I have always goes back to that first hard group ride with you and Kyle when I first got into riding a bike. Like that first 30-mile ride on the bike path just hurt. And but it felt like also really accomplishing at the same time. And I imagine
Dude, me too.
It's a cool
It rings
sport
true,
for that.
yeah.
Because you
East
go
Bay.
so many miles. There's
Yeah.
like, to me, when I started going, it was miles. It's a miles thing because I said, holy shit. Like, I never would have thought that I could go 40
Go that
miles
far.
without a motor, right? Like,
Yeah.
or something like that. And I had done long distance walking stuff before when I was in the Army. But, like, I don't know. It was just something about cycling and going 40 miles. Like, I remember that was the target.
yeah.
And we were like, yeah, well, we stop at 40 miles. And like, oh no, we can do 50. And then like we were going to do a 50 one day, Brian St. Pierre and I. And then I think we ended up doing like 65 or something. It was around my house.
Yeah, I
we were
remember
just
that.
did that. And then all of a sudden 65 was in the bank. And you're like, oh shit, there's a Gran Fondo. And yeah, you just kind of keep going. And it's it like benchmarks yourself, but makes you go, yeah, there's more room.
Yeah, like
to
how
grow.
much more can you do? Is there Everesting in the plans, or think you guys could do something like that?
Ask Noah.
oh yeah.
Noah's man
like you
the
guys-
plan. I'm living by the seat of my pants.
I don't know when I'm gonna do it, but I'm probably gonna do an off-roading Everest attempt.
Oh, wow.
No,
Has
could
that
you
been
explain
attempted?
what Everesting
yeah,
is? Because
so-
some people definitely don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so Everesting is you pick a section of a hill climb essentially, and you can either walk, run, bike up it. You do it X number of times until you match the elevation of Mount Everest. So I think
Which
it's
is
like
the
28.
climb itself is about 28,000.
Yeah, it's 28.
Yeah.
And,
Yes,
you,
right.
and depending on the grade, the time and distance
Right.
varies essentially, but it's like sort of the
Right.
feat of cycling.
So that'd be like
Pinnacle
doing the
of
Greylock ride twice plus some in
Yeah.
elevation.
In a decent amount of time too.
So you don't necessarily have to pick something as steep, but the longer the climb, the steeper the climb, the less laps you have to do. Right. And there's a specific hill that you have your eye on for it.
Yeah, so Falls River Road.
Yeah.
Above Arcadia.
It's
kinda-
dirt?
Yeah, it's dirt. It's the only switchback in Rhode Island, I think.
Falls River Road.
Yeah, it's right by Stepstone Falls, right
Yeah.
north
Oh, okay.
of Arcadia.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
There's some crazy climbing around that entire area, but wow, I never thought of like an off-road Everesting. There's a whole different element that comes with that, like just having to focus on like slippage and like picking a line the whole time. Even like on the same road, just like knowing that there's more of a chance that you'll fall, and like the degree of like dangerousness is much higher. It's just that's intense. And I would imagine like what's the average Everesting attempt take, like 8 hours or so?
I don't know.
I think the world record's like 10 hours or
Yeah, I was
something
gonna
like
say, I
that.
think the average
It's a
for
long-
people
it's
that
a
are
long
fit
time.
is like
10
13 or
hours.
14.
So on dirt,
There's good
what's that?
videos on YouTube, by the way. If someone's interested, there are videos
Yeah,
on
there's-
YouTube.
Oh,
of people's
absolutely.
interest.
Yeah. It's a pretty popular
Everest.
feat amongst like endurance athletes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I imagine that would translate to dirt by like a factor of like 1.5 or something. You
It
know,
just
that's insane.
sounds a lot more awful.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm gonna be rooting you on, man.
Oh,
That's,
Sounds terrible. Good luck.
Can we film it?
Sure.
Please.
I mean, dude, you have to. Like, we've got to
I'll
get
film it.
some
I'll be
filming
there.
of this.
That's
Like,
11 hours.
no way we can't not get some of it at least.
Is this
Got
like
it.
something you
He's like,
plan
I
on?
don't want this filmed. I'm just gonna die.
Is this something you plan on doing like soon, or this is the first
gonna-
time I'm hearing it? So.
Yeah, I was supposed to or doing it with this person I ride with out of South Kingstown, but just like our schedules, and I'm trying to race more right now, so I think I'm gonna train through the winter, and then maybe the spring's a good time because everything's wet.
Yep.
It's survived the winter, so it's a little bit flatter right now. Like went and did some hill repeats on Falls River Road a couple weeks ago, and it was just like super rutted out. It was a lot of effort to do 10 reps, which was still like 3,500 feet of climbing, I think, over 10 reps. But yeah. But it's like sort of to train, so something I built into my training. I haven't done it so much recently, but I would go out and ride like so Yagu Valley Road
Yep.
is a good section. It's like average grade is 9%. It's like 250 feet of climbing. I'd go do like 20 or 25 reps on that.
Wow.
Just like stuff like that. Like if you can't do the climbing, like it definitely makes you stronger. You can simulate it, but
Yeah, that's a road in Exeter, Rhode Island.
yeah, in Exeter kind of.
And if you have ever like skied in Rhode Island, then you've been on that road. 'Cause that's where the quote unquote ski resort is
Yeah.
locally.
And
Are
that,
you
it's a
getting
hill.
down to like the Phil Gaiman level of science, where it's like, okay, this is my gradient, this is my stretch of road, this is how many watts I need to push for X amount of time.
no, I'm just
okay.
gonna go ride my bike.
I like to laugh at
and
I love laughing at that.
and hope to God that I survive.
Yes.
There's definitely, I'm sure, merit in that if you're going for a world record attempt or something. But yeah, I just want to, I don't know, I want to pick some
You just wanna
charity
see if
and
you can do it.
fundraise and see if I can actually do it or not, and like whatever happens, happens.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Great
Very cool,
opportunity.
man.
No, something else I'd like to talk about is you talking about training and whether or not it's like specifically training or just, riding your bike to be better at riding your bike. Like you eat plant-based, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel like, is that something that is hard to do with the amount of calories that you need to put in and the amount of training that you do, or does it feel pretty natural at this point? Like how long have you been doing it?
Like just over a year. I've been sort of living the plant-based diet. I think it's easy to fall in the rut of laziness. And you just have to be more cognizant. And I think we were talking about this before, like taking vitamins and stuff on the drive here. Like you have to be very cognizant of what you're eating and when you're eating it. And having a good diversified diet. At first, it's really odd because like you're like, oh, I have eggs and bacon for breakfast every day. And then, so like I weaned myself off of it to make sure that I didn't just go like fully anemic. Immediately, and I read some books. But it was actually kind of funny because like what motivated me was partially like obviously health benefits, but and environmental. But there was this documentary I was watching called The Game Changers, and like there was this female track cyclist on it, and she was like 42 years old and participating in the 2016 Olympics. And she basically was like, I can perform at the level that I'm at for my age because I've been eating this plant-based diet. And then I started reading some more of the science and stuff, and like a lot of really preventable diseases and health conditions in the United States that are really caught sort of an epidemic are preventable through a plant-based diet.
Do you think that's due to inflammation? Is that what it basically boils down to?
Yeah, it is. Like inflammation, and then just like the stuff they're putting in. Like meat, I don't think meat is the problem in the United States. Like you can eat meat and that's totally fine. And like if we sat down at this table right now and everybody like slapped their favorite cut of steak, I wouldn't be like, you shouldn't eat that, right? But like I think it's the meat industry that's the problem. Like it's just like large mass scale production of animal product foods just aren't good for you.
Yeah.
So that was what sort of motivated me. And then just like this correlation between just like so many preventable diseases. Like I kind of want to live a long life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I'm sure all of you guys also want to. So
what do you usually like fuel up on with, if you don't mind me asking? Like what's like what's the like food you eat normally on a daily basis?
Well, it's gonna sound pretty boring. So like on top of being plant-based, I also have an incredibly sensitive stomach.
Oh, okay.
So I have to really watch what I eat. But like usually it's some sort of version of rice and beans.
Okay.
So like breakfast is always the same. And I don't know if you guys, well, yeah, I made it when we were doing the Mount Greylock. I have like this container of oatmeal that I fill to the top, and I put brown sugar, cinnamon, and a scoop of peanut butter.
Okay.
And then my lunch is either like a peanut butter sandwich or some version of rice and vegetables. Or I make curries and stuff. It really varies, but like actually like going plant-based sort of has diversified my cooking because now I cook, I think, a lot more.
So you're eating a lot of carbs.
Yeah, I don't really eat like the whole protein thing. I don't really.
Right. It's more about carbs and protein.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
been
that's
my
interesting.
thing is
Huh.
oatmeal a lot in the morning, especially
I've
before
gotten
bigger
into that.
rides.
Oh, yeah.
oatmeal, peanut butter, and like a little bit of maple syrup.
I don't think a day goes by where I don't eat oatmeal and peanut butter.
And
Wow.
Yeah, it's literally every day.
I just
haven't had it
vary.
in weeks.
I
Uh,
vary
It was
my,
before a ride, and I think he gave it to me.
It's good.
Wait, what was that? I
The
gave you
last time I
oatmeal?
had oatmeal and,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
peanut butter.
Oh, I
just
make you
buy
nice
that-
oatmeal.
I just buy that giant tub of like the
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, the
whatever
Quaker
it is.
Oats?
The Quaker
Yeah,
Oats,
yeah.
yeah.
It's perfect.
Steel cut?
Steel cut.
Gotta get still. Getting bronze.
Yeah, I just vary
Gotta
the
get
amount of
still.
oatmeal I eat depending on what activity I'm doing. But yeah, it's
Exactly.
all about the oatmeal.
Yeah. Usually
How do
if
you
I'm, like,
prepare
Which I
every
never really
day,
liked
I'll
oatmeal,
just do eggs.
I like it now.
How do you
put
prepare it?
yogurt in
Yeah,
oatmeal
yogurt?
sometimes,
Oh, I
which
like to
was
add yogurt,
new
yeah.
to me.
That's the best.
I had
Yeah.
never put yogurt in oatmeal. And
Greek
then,
yogurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, just like some sort of yogurt. And
Especially
then he
like
did it before
overnight
a ride one
yogurt.
time.
Oh, yeah,
And I was
overnight
like,
oats,
this is a game changer. Put yogurt
Yeah.
on
I
your
do that
oatmeal,
with my
people.
protein.
This is
Yeah,
an endorsement
yeah.
for
I've told you
yogurt
guys
on your
this.
oatmeal.
It's the hack.
Do you
Brian
notice?
hack.
So
good.
pudding hack. It's my
Yeah, yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, let's have one avenue here. What is the pudding hack?
All right, so the pudding hack is you get Greek yogurt. I use the Stonyfield, I think it's called. It's got no sugar.
We're going to bleep that
It's
unless
like-
they sponsor us.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Coupon code.
It's got no sugar in it, and I think it's like I want to say it's 19 grams of protein per serving. But then I put 2 scoops of chocolate whey into that, and then I mix it up, and it's like chocolate pudding. And I usually will eat that before I go to bed, especially after like a big training day or if I was doing like weights or something.
Oh, nice.
I don't do that every night because I try to stay away from dairy for the most part. But when I do that, or when I'm not eating pizza,
Yeah, I was going to say. I try and stay away from dairy.
I eat pizza and yogurt.
I also have a pizza company
Yeah, but I don't eat it.
that literally burns cheese on the side of it because that's the style that it is.
I don't eat the cheese though. I don't eat the pizza.
Do you?
But, yeah, that's what I do.
You're crazy.
To go back to the plant-based thing real quick, do you notice it? I know you said you were training for running a while back in the beginning of college. Do you notice like a performance difference between the diets? Did you eat meat beforehand or?
yeah, no, definitely. Just how I felt, like that feeling of being lethargic is way lower.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, performance, like losing, like you lose weight, definitely.
Yeah.
You just feel better, and like not to trash on like the energy food companies and stuff that like you buy while that you like to eat while riding, whatever it may be, but like, and I think like, not to throw names, but like Ted King and their company Untapped has really built a great platform on this, which is like you want to fuel your body with like whole foods
Real
and
food.
natural foods and
Yes.
real food. So like getting that stuff, like I have a friend who I go biking with and he's like cubes of sugar while we're riding.
Yeah.
And then he bonks really hard and wonders why. And it's because, like those complex carbohydrates, while they're complex, they're super simple to your body, right? And they break them down really fast. But if you can give yourself more complex or simple carbohydrates, right, your body can use that fuel a lot more efficiently.
Right, from natural foods.
Yeah, from natural foods. So like not boiled eggs.
Boiled eggs.
Also not
hard-boiled
carbs.
eggs. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like goos and gels are necessary at the end of a long ride because you do want that stuff for
Yeah,
your
that-
body to
that quick
process
hit,
quickly.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm all about like real food in the beginning, whether it be pancakes or like some sort of actual grain bar or oatmeal bar or something, like apricots. Because
A
that other
baguette.
stuff, it's just like 80 grams of carbs, and like it's good, but it serves a specific purpose.
Yeah.
A lot goes out in waste. I mean, a lot of that stuff comes
Sure.
out in waste, I think.
Have you
with
guys-
all the supplements?
Have you seen these like super condensed electrolyte drinks? I think like Element is one of the companies right now, but like you put basically like one packet into I think like 64 ounces of water.
Yeah.
And you that would basically be like your daily allotment, but it almost tastes like drinking salt water. It is like super dense, but apparently there are huge like performance benefits to it. I just haven't been able to dive into it because I can't get over the taste. I have like a small sample pack at home,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you guys have tried.
I did
Some
get a small
electrolyte
sample
powder?
packet of it.
Yeah.
It tastes similar to Pedialyte for me, which I've been drinking a lot lately.
I thought, yeah,
It's an
Pedialyte seems,
electrolyte powder.
yeah, it's an electrolyte powder, but it's like
It's like a
super
dehydration
heavy
type.
in salt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had those in the army when we were in super hot training. It was called Serasport. That's probably not what you were drinking, but it's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's so salty and electrolyte full
Yeah.
that it just tastes awful. But once you have it, your body's like,
Good to go.
Right.
Ready to
You
go.
can feel
let's
it.
do it.
All those reserves are just like topped off and
Yeah, it just like gives you, because you're so depleted when you're having it.
Yeah.
And then once you have it, it's just like all right, cool, let's keep going.
Huh. Yeah, I just can't get over the taste, unfortunately.
Last time I rode with Brian St. Pierre, he scared me. He made me think I was drinking too many electrolytes. Remember that?
Can you drink too many electrolytes?
He told me a horror story about it.
Horror story. Do tell.
No, it wasn't about. Well, I just referenced the vegan cyclist and how he said that he drank a bunch of coconut waters the day before a race, and then he was overhydrated, and it
wasn't good.
It wasn't good for
Something with
him.
his stomach, right?
Yeah, his stomach was just full because he had so much sodium and electrolytes in his stomach that his stomach was pulling water from the rest of his body.
Yeah, Brian was telling me this as I was finishing my second thing of coconut water.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get the last drips into my mouth.
Was that like the day before?
Yeah, he did.
Because
he said he drank like 6 coconut waters the day before or something like that.
I mean, that is
Yeah,
a
that's
lot.
excessive.
Yeah.
Why would you even do that? Yeah, it seems like a day of.
I don't drink 6 of
Yeah.
anything unless it's just regular water
Yeah.
the day before, like
Yeah.
a big ride.
The
right?
coconut water thing has been helping, I think. I don't like it, but
Yeah.
like those days where it was really hot recently, I was using it, but I just don't like the
I like the way it tastes.
Yeah, I like
at
it.
most gas
Yeah.
stations, it's easy to get, and it's got potassium and other electrolytes in it. So-
What I
Super
was
expensive either.
what I was saying actually was the opposite, was that you can deplete your electrolytes so much that you die. Is
Oh my
what
God, this
is
this
what I
guy's
read.
just trying to scare me.
Wait, so they're saying you just drink too much water?
You
and,
drink
like,
too much water.
And
like,
water
dilute-
yourself down.
Yeah,
you
that's,
water yourself down too much.
Yeah.
I think there was like a wasn't. I
how
think
much
there was like
water
an
do you have
opiate.
to drink to die?
Like
Like a Tom Brady.
It's
amount,
like-
he's always talking about drinking mad water.
it's like
Yeah.
3 gallons or something like that.
Yeah.
There's like a comedy radio show called
I think it's
Opie and
physically
Anthony.
impossible.
I think someone died from from doing exactly
Yeah.
Yeah, it
that.
was like a water drinking challenge.
Really?
Yeah.
And he like because you can like dilute your blood.
Yeah, she drank too
Right.
much water on the show, went to the hospital as a result, and died at the hospital.
Holy.
Is that called internal drowning? Like,
Yeah.
what is?
I hope it is. If it's not, let's change that.
Let's
Email.
change
Who
the
we gonna,
narrative.
how?
We'll just email Miriam.
Email WebMD?
Yeah.
Miriam Hospital?
No, Miriam
Hi,
Webster.
we'll start with Urban Dictionary. Internal drowning. We found this legitimate source on Urban Dictionary.
Yeah.
This is saying 3 to 4 liters can what is it called? Water intoxication.
That's
I drink like 3 soda
What's
streams.
that
a day.
like,
There's
a
no
gallon?
way.
Is that
Over-
assuming
over a
excess
gallon?
of what
It's
your
like
normal
1.3.
body water consumption is? So say you're fully hydrated, then you drink 3 more liters. Is that what that's assuming?
More than a
More than a
liter
liter
or
per
so
hour.
per hour
for several hours.
isn't recommended.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Like those things that
Yeah,
John
but this
has.
may also be assuming that you're not doing anything.
Right.
Like
Also
if you're
true.
if you're
Sure,
expending
sure,
sweat
yeah,
and all of
yeah.
that, I mean, you have to replace somehow.
Yeah, like 4
So,
hours on a bike.
That's probably
every day.
just like
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my couch and
All
I've
I'm doing
had
is
enough.
chugging
Drinking
water.
I've
Water.
had enough.
Water.
That's it. I'm going to drink myself
You have
with
a
water to
This
death.
is the end.
You got a catheter. And you're just sitting there drinking.
You don't want to get rid of
water.
any of it. You got a clip
Well,
on the.
I'm just being real here.
A clip.
You just clip that thing on your chip clip.
You seal yourself up. You drink as much
Chip
water
clip,
as you
and
can.
you
Little
just start
dab of
drinking
Gorilla
water.
Glue.
Oh gosh, that's awful.
Gross.
That's awful.
You know those strong black ones that are, I don't know what they're
What?
called, like paper clips.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
the ones that you flip with the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are
Mousetrap.
called.
Wow.
I know
Really
Noah
going
said he
off
had.
I think they're called binder clips.
Really going off
far
the
we're
rails
going.
here.
Yeah.
It's, just saying.
I was gonna say I know Noah said he had everything on the agenda. Do either John or Brian Cotty have anything else planned or in the upcoming future?
I'm gonna
Just
ride
riding my
bike tomorrow.
bicycle.
Okay.
The only thing I wouldn't even say it's planned. I don't have anything actually planned yet.
I mean, we have the Florida ride.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot you
As
mentioned
far
that,
as
sorry.
like training, I would say with my personal trainer over the winter, I just know we're gonna like work legs really hard this winter
Yeah.
because I haven't really been lifting at all. Other
He's
than
telling us to get ready for Brian Spring 2022.
yeah,
Can't wait for
wait
it.
till the drop.
Into the A groups and the crits.
But no,
Yeah,
that's all.
smoking
That's
them.
pretty much it. Just weights.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what I've been focusing on more so than biking lately or cycling lately has been weights. But that's due like trying to recover from an injury because I got super like even weaker than I already was after the injury. So
Yeah.
that's been my focus lately.
But yeah, that's about it.
Nice. That's good.
I'm doing the Tour de Rodi. You can donate on my Facebook.
we did that one last year.
This
You
year's
doing which
sick.
one?
I'm doing the 100K gravel route. Yeah, so it's about 64 miles, 64 miles gravel. And it is luckily going to get to go on some roads around the Citrus Reservoir that you can't go on otherwise.
that's
So,
really
like
cool.
the Kent County Water Authority is working with the organization that is putting it on, and
No way.
it's free to register
doing
for. You donate some. You get. You're looking for donations to raise for the Oncology Institute at Brown University. So,
It's a
Yeah, I'm
scattered
bummed out
start.
I can't do it.
yeah, it's scattered stuff.
Okay.
And there's different
when is
options.
it?
There's like a 25-mile
September
road,
18th.
and yeah, it's September 18th, and it's still available to sign up. If you raise $50, you get a T-shirt, and if you raise $500, you get a jersey. And you can also buy the jersey. It's a lot of great cause and different route options, and yeah, so
It's a great cause.
sign up for it.
I never got my T-shirt last year, but
Let's
I
email
still
them.
support
We'll
it.
email Marion.
I got your T-shirt.
No, you,
Email Merriam-Webster.
I never got a
I have a
t-shirt.
Tortorodi T-shirt.
you did get a T-shirt.
I got the thing.
Yeah.
The what is it? The gator or
COVID
whatever.
test. Oh,
Yeah, I got
looks like you were giving yourself a COVID
got a
test.
COVID
Yeah,
test.
up your nose.
That
Yeah.
was all I
The
got.
free one that they had.
To kind of tag on to the organized rides, I have an anecdote from the first Sip and Spin ride. So for those who don't know, we started organizing a Sip and Spin, which is a ride geared towards, please correct me if I'm wrong, but geared towards newer riders.
Anyone.
And like
Geared
absolute
towards
beginner-
anyone,
Yeah.
period.
Anyone with a bicycle.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a bike and you want to roll around on it.
It doesn't matter
come
what
on
kind
out.
of bike, like we're not going super fast or anything like that.
I will lube your chain and fill up your tires.
My brother-in-law
Yes,
just recently joined the ride and he had an absolute blast.
love to hear it.
He 100. I'm confident saying he 100% now has the bug, especially after riding with like a group of friends for the first time.
COVID.
Oh God, we're gonna get demonetized.
Quarantine, everybody.
What the hell?
Shut her down.
It's a variant.
But yeah, I just thought that was real. He for the last few days he's kind of been like talking to me about how much fun he had and absolutely raved about it. And I just wanted to give a tip of the hat to you for creating that because
Thanks,
that's
baby.
I feel like that's exactly what we're trying to do here is get someone like him on a bike in a
Absolutely.
group with us and have a good time and mission accomplished.
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll be doing more of those rides. We're calling them Sip and Spins. You can find them. You can find them promoted on our Instagram, which also is on our website, which is now a .com. We're officially a .com, so round of applause. It's just
Big deal.
.com. Or on our Strava Cycling Club page, where we create events and you can follow along there. I know most people who are new to cycling might not really know what Strava is. We've talked about it on the podcast before. It's essentially social media and activity tracking app on your phone and web-based. And so, yeah, you can find all the information there. And, yeah, I'm glad Jeff had a great time. And
yeah,
it was great to have him. And I just want everyone to enjoy riding their bike, essentially, you know.
I think it's going to be really interesting to see like how that group ride develops over the next because we're on the 15th. It's just a hill regular ride.
Sure.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see like what the 15th version of the Sip and Spin looks like.
Yes, we'll do it in retrospect section of the podcast once we get there.
Yeah, I really think it's going to grow. I think
We'll
we're
play
gonna be
you
surprised.
saying this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be. You think I'm going to be surprised? Stop putting words in my mouth.
I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with how many people end up coming into the group.
Me too, Jared. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, I hope so. I'm definitely excited for these Sunday sip and spins, and I think I'll be able to get my wife to join as well. And I told her about it after the last one, even though I wasn't able to make it. But
Yeah.
I told her the metrics of it, and she was very excited.
Hell yeah.
She said, "Oh, I could do that. Yeah,
Love to hear
I'll do it."
Love to hear it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we can even create
We will
like
be out.
shorter options, and basically the idea is just stick together, stop for coffee. People who've never ridden with each other before, if they have any questions, or like I said, if they need air put in their tires or anything like that, just to like support people who just want to get on their bikes and get a vibe for like what it's like to ride in a group.
I love it.
So
And plus, like now we got the whole weekend cornered. It's great.
yeah, we can't. It's not gonna happen every week. It's too much.
Yeah,
It's
it is
too
a lot.
much. Yeah. Okay, well, I feel like we've come to a sort of a natural lull. We talked about where you can find group rides and our Strava page, our website, our Instagram. We're at It's Just a Hill. There's underscores in there and stuff. You can find it all throughout. Noah, let's remind people about Gravel Bike RI, please, and where they can find that and stuff.
We're on Instagram
Yeah.
and Strava at Gravel Bike RI
Yeah.
and on the Facebook Gravel Bike page for Rhode Island. So
Right. Which you can find. Do you have to answer any fun questions to get into the gravel?
I
You know how
think
some
have to
Facebook groups
put,
like
there's like an open-ended question about like why you should be allowed to join or something like that.
Oh, right.
But
And
Because my
reads them
FTP is
carefully.
420.
I am not the admin. Jason Berenger is, so you can.
Oh, is it? Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
That was, I think, grandfathered in his role. So, but yeah, just say you ride your bike, I think, and you'll be able to get in.
That's awesome. Yeah. Look forward to doing more rides together with all of you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job, everybody.
Decaf left, regular right. Decaf left, regular right. It's very challenging work.